Hi everybody, I'm Pierre-Simon Ntiruhungwa for Silicon Students. We are here at the Startup Pad with Chris McCann, the CEO of Startup Digest, and for our third edition of our series of interviews in Silicon Valley. So we have a question that we have gathered from a community of students in France that we will ask Chris. But first, thank you, and can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do with Startup Digest?
So my name's Chris McCann, and I live here in Palo Alto now. Originally I went to school at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. It's a small little technical school, I guess, in the Central Coast of California. I did a whole bunch of startup stuff there, but after I graduated, I knew I wanted to move to Silicon Valley. I knew I wanted to either start something or join something. I didn't really know particularly what I wanted to do, and I didn't really know anybody up here, but just sort of moved up here. And then I just sort of started going to a lot of events, things like hackathons and meetups and user groups and places where other entrepreneurs were. And I started picking the best ones for myself. And this is sort of how Startup Digest, the company I started, got started, where a lot of my friends were like, hey, this is pretty cool, do you want to send this to me too? So in November 2009, we sent our first email, originally just to 22 people, that was it. And it just had all the best things going on in Silicon Valley.
Yes.
So now we cover 67 cities, not just Silicon Valley anymore. And we have a whole bunch of people all over the world that kind of get to find out about the best events in the startup community because of Startup Digest.
Great. So how many readers right now?
A little less than 250,000.
Okay, that's pretty good. And so you really managed to build a real community around Startup Digest in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And what are for you the key points in building a community like this?
I guess one of them, you have to. It was a little bit easier for us because the whole point of the digest, even in the beginning, was to go to events. Mm-hmm. So when you go to events, you're meeting people in person, which is a much higher level of interaction. The way we spread is people would say, hey, how'd you hear about this event? Oh, Startup Digest. Oh, cool. And that's sort of the way we spread. So there's already sort of a natural community kind of forming at these events, regardless. And then also what's really helped us too is a lot of people are also really passionate about startups, really passionate about entrepreneurship, wanting to get more involved. It might be hard, if you were trying to create a community of hairdressers or something.
Yeah.
If you don't have people who are really passionate about something behind it, it might be a little bit harder.
Yes.
But you need some sort of regular interaction. You need some sort of passion user base behind it, and you just sort of need to sort of organize them on a continuous basis, and sort of involved in that too is trust.
Okay.
So knowing that for us, it's knowing the digest is going to come out every week, knowing that the events in there are good. You have to have some sort of level of trust so people actually sort of associate them with you and or wanting to sign up.
So for instance, at the beginning, you never felt only 1 week sending the digest, or?
No, we try and shoot for every week. Some cities are a little bit smaller, so it comes out every week, but every other week. But whatever the schedule is, making sure that's consistent. And if it's ever inconsistent, sometimes we'll stop a city or finding the curator because that's pretty important.
Okay, and so right now the Startup Digest is not only reading list or even an email list for events. You have a product called Startup Digest VIP.
Yeah.
So how did you manage to turn that was first just a community of reader to a company that you are right now?
It's a good question. So for us, so we had the digest that were going out in every city, and even in the beginning, it wasn't really, even right in the beginning, it was something I sort of just did because I was really interested in it. It wasn't necessarily I was trying to start a company. It just sort of happened. This was the thing that sort of got traction and took off. But for a long time, we know we wanted to make a media company that was not going to be advertising dependent. We didn't want to just throw up ads in the digest, try to sell things to you. So we tried a whole bunch of different things. And the one that sort of stuck was the VIP product. And how it came about was one of our readers, actually, he was one of the partners of Excel.
Yes.
Excel, they invested in like Facebook and Angry Birds and all these companies. So his name was Rich Wong. So he was asking me, just like you, like, hey, how's it going? Like give me an update. And I was telling him like, you know, about what we were doing. He was like, shit, I really, sorry for shit, but shit, I really wanted to hire you to run marketing at Excel. And I was like, like I can't, like I have a company, like that's pretty cool, like that's pretty awesome, but I can't, like I'm sort of busy. And so we kind of thought about that. We're like, that sort of process of getting recruited, sort of knowing that this other company wants you, and especially like, if you're sort of like new to the community, like having somebody like instantly sort of gravitate you, like we sort of wanted to recreate that. So it's sort of kind of where like the VIP product came from. So it's for engineers, designers, and product managers that want to work at the best startups. So if you're even curious, if you want to sort of know what's going on out there, you apply to us, we send you out, and instantly a whole bunch of companies really want you. So that's sort of like how it came about.
Okay. So yeah, it's by building a community and try to know the people there, know their need, and then finding something that fit their need and still relevant for Startup Digest.
Yeah, and back to the whole thing, like it all still depends on trust. Like if we didn't have the trust and we weren't consistent, people would never come to us for like all the later things. It was only because like we were sort of doing stuff every week and we were listening to our users, to our readers, that we sort of kind of came about this. But yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And one question that aspiring French entrepreneur can ask, and I think that is for a lot of people, because so you know a lot about events, and sometimes you're building your company, you're building your product, you're into that, and you might wonder, should I go to this event or I'll stay at home working? So what makes a good events and what makes an event worth going, because sometimes it can be disappointing as thought we should have stayed home working.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, and even for us, like, you know, you should not be going, if you're going to events every single day, like, you should probably be doing a little bit more work. So there's certain types of events which tend to be good at certain points in time. So like, you know, hey, if you're like completely new and you don't know anybody, like maybe you should be going to like co-founder events and like mixers and that sort of stuff. If you sort of have a product and you want to sort of get out there, like you probably should be going to like, you know, demo events or like events that have like around your market, maybe like mobile or social or gaming or whatever. Probably like after, like when you get like a little bit bigger and you're trying to like recruit people, like maybe going to hackathons, that sort of stuff. But just sort of like be conscious of like, always think to yourself like, why are you going to this? And then see if the event's doing that for you. Because if you just go to something with no purpose, then you're just going to something. How do you know if that event was good or not for you? And then also like selfish shameless plug, like sign up for a Startup Digest. So we try and pick like all the best things going on in your city. You should not go to all of them. But that at least has like one layer of filtering. And then really think about like, should you go to any from that? Like, you know, what are you trying to accomplish from this? So, you know, just sort of like be careful, be mindful, and like have a purpose.
Okay. And how you talked about the best events. How do you determine what are the best events and what are your criteria? Are they the same everywhere? I think not, but
yeah. So we sort of took the approach of like, so we actually have like curators, so people who are either founders, hackers, or investors themselves living in the city that they're in. They're the ones that pick the best events. So in Paris, actually, we have a digest out there curated by I can never say his name. So Alexander Delivet. He was just here the other day. He's gonna see this and he's gonna get mad at me. But he lives. It's
hard for American people to pronounce.
He lives in Paris. He started a company before. He's on his second one. He runs the group.
Apparel entrepreneur.
French is so hard.
French lesson right now.
Apparel entrepreneur. So like he sort of knows like, you know, on a baseline like what is good and going on in France. But I guess more objectively we look at like, you know, what's the point of the event, like who's speaking there, like is it sponsored by somebody, has it gone on before, like who's the person organizing it, just little things like that. And then we also take like feedback into account, like I don't know, one of us goes to an event and like really sucks, or like somebody tells us about something that's like terrible, then we kind of keep that in mind for next time.
Okay. Thank you. And I think like I'm gonna ask maybe the last question, which will be kind of advice that you could have for young entrepreneurs, maybe related to events and what's for instance, I'm a French young entrepreneur, or maybe from another country. I just arrived in Silicon Valley. What should I do to make my way in the Silicon Valley?
That's a good question. I'm biased. Like literally, the first thing I did when I came here was I tried to meet as many people as I could in my situation, and mainly like sure it helps like it just helps like you're in the position, they can probably help you, like you can probably meet other people like you. But I think the biggest thing is to sort of feel like it's that sort of feeling that like I'm not alone. Like there's other people like as crazy as I am, like thinking that they can work for do their own startup, and sort of having like a group of friends who are all sort of in this with you together. So like if you succeed or fail, they're sort of with you. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, even like even when I was in college, like actually I'm in our house/office right now. One of our roommates, Brian Riley.
Yeah.
You've probably met him before.
Yeah.
We were actually roommates in college together. And me and him have like we've talked about like a whole bunch of things. Like we tried to do certain things together. It didn't work out, but we've always sort of stayed friends, and that sort of just kind of kept us motivated to finally being here and finally doing something. But having that like friend who is in a similar position that I can kind of talk to about this sort of stuff, hugely important. If you didn't have anybody, you'd be very lonely.
Okay.
Probably a little touchy-feely, but
okay. I understand. It's really important. So
yeah.
So thank you very much, Chris,
cool.
For having us, and
thanks.
Hope it will be helpful for French entrepreneurs.
All right. Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.